Hello everyone, my name is Cameron. Welcome back to your regularly scheduled nonsense. And today, joining in with the video I released about a week or so ago of my 10 favorite platinums of 2023. Today we are doing my 10 least favorite platinums of 2023. This list will be much in the same vein as the last one, where the number 10 is going to be the one I enjoyed the most, and the number 1 will be the one I enjoyed the least. So it's basically the exact opposite of how the list went last time, where number 10 was the one I enjoyed the least and number 1 was the one I enjoyed the most. So again, a big shout out to my buddy Alex, who suggested this video for me and really kind of gave me the idea of doing these, and I thought it'd be a really fun way to kind of talk about some of the platinums I've gotten this year before doing the platinum journey video for 101 to 125, which as of today can now officially be done as well, because I just got platinum number 125, which we'll discuss on this list. Actually, is the funniest part. So without further ado, starting with number 10, we have Zombie. Now this platinum was a long time coming. It took me over 7 years, and the reason it was so hard was literally down to one specific trophy, and that's for survival difficulty. If you guys don't know what Zombie is, it is a game where whenever you die, you then take over a new survivor and go back to find your old survivor's dead body, get your stuff back, and continue on with the story. However, in survival difficulty, you have one life. You die, you restart the entire game from the beginning again. That wouldn't be a problem, and I've done games where that's a trophy list, that's a part of the trophy list, and I've done games where I've done a no death run before with no issue. However, this game is originally a Wii U port. This originally came out on the Wii U as Zombie U, and the port was notoriously has a lot of bugs and a lot of issues inside of it, and that coupled with not dying in a game that really has a lot of zombies as the levels get further along, as you get further along in the game, and has a lot of zombies that are really difficult to deal with if you're not paying 100% attention, or if some sort of bug happens, really gets to be annoying. And I legitimately stopped playing this game for so long because of this trophy, and eventually came back to it and save scummed it, and honestly, I don't feel bad about doing that. Again, this is a buggy game, and this trophy is the one trophy I was missing for the platinum this year, was this trophy. So, yeah, the game itself and this trophy especially suffer because of how buggy and glitchy it can be at times. But it's still an overall fun game with a short story, but it is kind of annoying to have to go through it 3 separate times for the 3 different difficulties, that being normal, chicken, and survival difficulties. It really depends on how much you think you're going to enjoy a zombie game that isn't the greatest. At the end of the day, it's kind of probably one of the worst zombie games I've played, but arguably it's not the worst. We'll talk about that one in a minute. Well, platinum-wise, we'll talk about that one in a minute. Game-wise, this one's probably still below that one. But overall, I give it a 6 out of 10. I'd say it's recommended, but when you're going for survival, save scum. Use either a USB to back up your saves, or PlayStation Cloud services if you have PlayStation Plus. Definitely a good option either way. Genuinely would not recommend doing this without save scumming, or to some degree. Next, for number 9, we have Sniper Elite 4. This is one of the games that I debated not putting on this list. I genuinely really didn't know if I wanted to put it on this, because this game is a lot of fun, and a lot of the trophies aren't too bad. It's from a series that I do love. Sniper Elite is a very fun, jank-tastic series, and I'm a huge fan of it. However, the platinum for this game is so fucking tedious compared to... I mean, granted, everything I've done by Rebellion so far has been tedious as fuck, so I can't really say compared to anything else that they've done, because the 2 platinums I have from them, this and Zombie Army 4, are both super fucking tedious and repetitive bullshit that I did not enjoy after a point. this one especially because it has like 7 difficulty related trophies, including the hardest 2 difficulties, Authentic and Authentic Plus, requiring no manual saves throughout the entirety of the game. However, it does kind of have an exploit for that I'll get to in a second. But luckily, a lot of the trophies, not counting the difficulty ones, can literally be just obtained by playing the game. Like, for instance, killing with traps, killing distance, etc., etc. You know, those sort of like get X amount of kills with this trap, or get, I think it's like 100 kilometers of kill distance, which racks up pretty quick if you have all the DLCs and if you're doing everything that you need to do for the missions. The collectibles get very tedious, and I hate saying that about a collectibles trophy, but the collectibles in the Sniper Elite games are always so vast, and there's so many, so it does get to a point where you're getting like maybe 30 collectibles a map. And like, I get when people say that, oh, this game's too collectible heavy, or this game's too collectible heavy. Like, I saw somebody's Killing Floor 2 video that said it's a collectible nightmare, and I'm thinking, I'm like, dude, you have not even seen Collectible Nightmare, because Sniper Elite 4, holy hell, that is a collectible nightmare. And I genuinely wish this wouldn't have been that bad. But like I said, there is an exploit for the harder difficulties. You can find people that do have a save right at the end of the missions, load into that save with them, finish the mission, boom, mission done on the hardest difficulty, and just breeze through every other mission on the hardest difficulty, and you're done with it in about 30 seconds. It's not the most honorable way, I'll say, to get a trophy, but legitimately this game takes so fucking long to play through on any difficulty. Not just the hardest, any fucking difficulty in Sniper Elite 4 takes forever. Especially Authentic and Authentic Plus, where you have to literally sit there and be stealthy the entire time. You cannot really go out of stealth. It's a very dead set, you need stealth for the harder difficulties. So I did use the exploit. I did have somebody who let me jump into their games and do the saves and everything like that. And that was the easiest way to go about it for me personally, as somebody who was just dead set on not playing the game as much as possible, because I was so sick and tired of that game at that point. And like I said, collectible wise, not too many of them are like, there's a lot per map, which gets tedious and very annoying. And there's a few that are co-op specific. So like, it really comes down to how long do you want to spend looking at a Power Picks or some other YouTube guide of where all the collectibles are on every single map, and how long do you want to study that so you can watch everything. And then there's like 3 or 4 that are specific to co-op, which are genuinely a pain in the ass, because who the fuck wants to have to go into a co-op mission specifically, which you do have to do those co-op missions to get trophies anyway. They are part of completing the game. So yeah, not really that fun. Overall, 7 out of 10, but I recommend putting a lot of time aside to get this platinum. Especially if you go for the 100% with Target Fuhrer and the 3 Deathstorm DLCs, and then obviously also Authentic Plus. It's going to take you a lot of time. Genuinely, I would recommend at least having a friend to do Authentic and Authentic Plus with, if you're not going to do the exploit, which granted, again, like I said, the big thing is my buddy Alex always says, if you're using some sort of exploit or bug in the game to get a platinum, really the only person at the end of the day you're cheating is yourself. And it really depends on if you personally feel okay getting a trophy in that specific way. Like with Zombie, using the Safe Scum method, I felt completely fine using that method to get that platinum. I felt completely fine using this method to get this platinum, and so on and so forth. We'll talk more on exploits in a later part of this video. Next, on to number 8, we have Need for Speed Unbound. Look, this is like my 4th or 5th Need for Speed platinum at this point. And genuinely, it was the worst of all the ones I've done already. I have played Need for Speed since I was a child. It was one of the first games I ever played on PS2 way back in the day. It is one of my favorite franchises of all time, and EA has fucking bastardized it. And yes, obviously an EA game made this fucking list as well. An EA game made the best of list, which shocked the hell out of me, and an EA game has made the worst of list. All is right with the world. Literally, so every Need for Speed game is tedious because there's a lot of collectibles, there's a lot of challenges you have to do of multiple different types, drifting, sprints, long jumps, speed runs, speed traps, stuff like that. All of these that you have to do repeatedly over and over again to try to get 3 stars on for majority of these games. And this one had tighter times, tighter scores, or higher scores to get, harder drift trials, just arguably, like, the game just didn't feel the same. Like, it felt like this was just, hey, let's make this harder for the sake of making it more tedious for people who are wanting to get 100% of things done in this game. On top of that, it had a boring, short, but also long and drawn out story. Like, it's weird that the story is only about 5 chapters long, but also feels so long and drawn out because every single week you have to do Monday night, Monday morning, or Monday morning, Monday night, Tuesday morning, Tuesday night, Wednesday, for 4 weeks in a row until you get to the final qualifier, and then finally do the last race. And it just feels so drawn out for the sake of them actually wanting to make it worth charging $60-$70 for this game, which I bought it on sale because it's an EA game. Fucking duh. But genuinely, it just, and genuinely, it just did not live up to the Need for Speed name. And of course, because it's an EA game, because it's a Need for Speed game, you have the tedious online trophies. And what, pray tell, is the tedium of these online trophies for this entry of the Need for Speed franchise? Winning in every single class of car. So that's B, A+, S, and S+. I think those are all of them. Or B, B+, A+, S, and S+. I think were the ones you have to win in. And then also winning an entire race with a full lobby, which is like 8 people worth of people in a single race, and you have to win that. If you boost it, it's not that bad. But if you're just going for this solely on your own and you're not trying to boost this, number one, finding 8 people in a race is a fucking nightmare. I've tried it. And number two, actually winning the race against people who've been playing this game since release is really difficult. And the online trophies especially just become very, very annoying after a while. And like I said, I'm very thankful to have boosted these trophies just solely because otherwise I would have lost my mind. And the worst part is you have to win a set, which means 3 races have to be won with 8 people. 3 races have to be won in every single car class that needs it done for the trophy. And yeah, it's arguably very annoying. You have to fully upgrade your garage in online and in the story because they're 2 separate garages. And yeah. And the art style for this game is so weird. It's like they couldn't decide between being realistic or like graffiti comic style and mashed it up, and it somehow looks bad in both versions. Like, either way, it looks terrible. The realistic cars and buildings really don't fit to the tone of the graffiti art style of the characters and the effects on your cars, and it just makes the game suffer more. Overall, 2 out of 10. I really cannot recommend this game as much as I'd want to. As somebody who loves the Need for Speed franchise, EA has bastardized it, and I cannot recommend it at all to anybody anymore. I even told my dad not to get it when, like, he was he just got a PS5 and he was asking what games I should get, and I was like, don't get Need for Speed, it sucks. Need for Speed Unbound's terrible. Just don't get it. Next, number 7, we have Stranded Deep. How bad were the trophies in this game, you ask? So bad that the only reason I even got this platinum is because of an in-game bug that literally just gave you all the trophies for free. Now, remember how I said using bugs and exploits, you really only cheat yourself, and it depends on how you feel about getting those trophies. I have the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe Edition platinumed on my PS4 for the simple reason of I did not want to try to make my already nearly 10-year-old PS4 suffer through 10 more years of waiting for me to get a single fucking trophy. I might do it again on my PS5 and actually do Super Go Outside, but I haven't decided yet. I'm not sure if I want to do that yet or not. It would be worth it, but still. But yeah, Stranded Deep had a bug where if you joined into a world with somebody that already had all the trophies, and at one point it seemed like it had to have been on that world, but it seems like any world was fine. All you had to do was join into that person's world, and all of the trophies would ring in for you about 2 minutes in. That is what I did because this game is a buggy, confusing fucking mess, and I did not want to go for the platinum ever in my life. I literally only went for it because I saw that that exploit existed and said, yeah, okay, I'll do it. Why not? The story is stupid and terrible. The game is buggy as hell, and not any of the trophies, basically, like maybe 3 or 4, can be earned through actually progressing through the said terrible story. Every other trophy, basically, you have to do completely going out of your way to do. Eating nothing but fish for a day, staying on the same island for like 5 days, carrying 2 of every animal into a raft and sailing into a storm, having a campfire on like a bunch of unique islands. Like, it's all super tedious shit that you're not gonna do ever by actually like focusing on the story. Like, if you're focusing on solely beating the game, you're never going to do most of those trophies. You have to go completely out of your way to actually do those trophies. And it's so just frustrating because the game had potential when it first released in early access way back when, but it's just not worth it at all. It's just a very tedious, out of the way platinum to get, and I literally, like I said, would not have it if it wasn't for the exploit. This would not be on this list because I never would have gotten this platinum because I never wanted to play this game ever again. Literally only got it for the exploit. Overall, 0 out of 10. Do not go for it. Fuck this game. It is terrible. Number 6, Dying Light 2, Stay Human. Come on. You had to have known this was going to pop up on this list, right? Like, after what I said in the 10 favorite ones about what, were you expecting more to come after Dying Light? Like, this should have been expected. This was originally number 5. I will say this right now. This was number 5, and you'll understand why it moved down to number 6 here in a second. Honestly, every non-story related trophy in this game felt tedious as hell and just like unnecessary grinding, and the level trophies, especially for getting your stamina and your health maxed out and all that stuff and getting all of the upgrades, just felt so tedious. Like every next level felt like such a high XP grind for no reason, when the game really didn't scale how much XP you were getting per mission and per kill and everything like that as well as it should have. Here's the thing. If you're going to have an open world RPG style game, you have to have some sort of scaling for XP and levels, and this game did not have it. It might have had some level of it, but it was not to the point of this level is 15,000 XP for the next level, and this one's fucking 40,000 from 0 again. No amount of scaling should have given you that big of a jump between levels, especially if you're going to a brand new, like, restarting from 0 again. It takes so long, and it literally, if you guys watch my series on Dying Light 2, you start to hear how venomous and pissed off I got at this game, because at the end of the day, I was so fucking excited about this game, but at the end of the day, going into everything about the platinum and the game itself just drained me. Like, genuinely. The fact that I've gotten both Dying Light 2 and Dying Light's platinum in this same year really showed how much worse 2 was overall for me. And Alex, my buddy, helped me get Dying Light 1's platinum and helped me get Dying Light 2's, because there are a few co-op trophies in that one. But co-op is a whole nother mess that I'm not going to get into in this video. And genuinely, playing through Dying Light 1, even through some of the worst, even through the 2 bad DLCs in Dying Light 1. Yeah, well, the 1 bad DLC, and then the mid one, and then the really good one. Even that didn't feel as bad as playing through Dying Light 2 for the platinum. And I genuinely I wanted better. Overall, 4 out of 10. It's not bad, but honestly, if you're going to go for a Dying Light platinum, just go play the first game. It's so much more fun. There's a reason it was on the good list. Next, number 5, Borderlands, the pre-sequel. Holy shit. I have never gone from enjoying a platinum journey to despising it as badly as I did with this game. I literally love the Borderlands games. They're not my favorite game series, but they're very enjoyable looter shooters to just go in and play and fuck around for a couple of hours. And so much of this platinum was genuinely a lot of fun. Go explore all the maps, go do all the side missions, beat the main boss twice, the usual looter shooter type fare. Go do everything you can in the world and then come back. Where this platinum started turning from fun to annoying was when I was doing the sub-level 13 with 3 other players mission, because that was a buggy fucking mess at times and just didn't run very well. Granted, this game as a whole is a buggy fucking mess. I had on my last playthrough where I was just trying to get to level 50, multiple enemies mesh and disappear on me and just go into the fucking walls and shit and be still able to hit me, but no possible way for me to hit them. Thanks for that one, Borderlands. Not to mention, bosses just, as I'm going through the air, just my momentum gets killed, and then next thing you know, I'm dead. This game took me 6.5 years. And there's 2 big reasons for that. Number 1, because the Claptrap DLC fucking sucks. And number 2, because the Claptrap DLC fucking sucks. And that's what stopped me from playing this. And that's like the best XP grinding method for level 50. And I did not want to go through that DLC again. I got to the final boss, was fighting its last stage, and said, nah, fuck that. I'm going to go back to doing main story shit because fuck the DLC, fuck Claptrap. That little robot can die in a fucking fire. Continuing, Claptrap's VaultHunter.exe trophy is also a pain in the ass because there is... So you have basically 2 methods for how you can do this trophy. Number 1, you can play as Claptrap and get him to level 50 and then unlock everything and go through every single VaultHunter.exe mode, which there's like 13 or 14 or something like that. Some of them require you to be in co-op, and it's just arguably a pain in the fucking ass. Or you can do what I did, get him to level 25 and respec a couple times, and then, you'd only have to respec once if you got to level 50. Respec twice, and then get all your skill points back and go into the specific things that you need to get and get all of the VaultHunter.exe modes that way, which is how I did it. Is it the best way? Probably not, but it still fucking sucked. Getting him to level 25 was a pain in the ass. With that being said, every Borderlands game, you also have to do basically all of the special attack things for basically every base game character. And this game's was extremely tedious because, like, 3 or 4... So, the first couple of levels, you don't normally get a skill point anyway in every Borderlands game. But this one, you go, like, 1, 2, 3, no XP points. 4 gets 1. 5 doesn't get 1 randomly. 6 got 1. And like, a couple of XP points just don't give there. So you have to get to a higher level each time with every character than you should have had to. Like in Borderlands 1, you go to I think level 10 and you have the easiest way to do all the skill point or all the special points, or like level 5 or some shit like that. It's very simple of a level up in Borderlands 1 to get to the point where you can do the special attack for the Vault Hunters. In Borderlands, the pre-sequel, you have to get to level 10 or 11 just to do that trophy alone. And you do need to, for some of them, especially Athena's, you need to kind of level the skill up a couple of times before you can really get the action skill trophies. I used Wilhelm and got his a long time ago, and that's who I got to level 50, and that's why this trophy took so long. I posted on Twitter talking about why this was taking a while, and it's because of this game. This was the game that I was like, yeah, this is making the list if I can finish it before the end of the year. And I spent pretty much all day yesterday grinding the fuck out of this and finished it at 12 in the morning. Literally the worst trophy was getting to level 50. This game legitimately, you have to get to level 61 for the 100% in Borderlands 1, which I had no issue doing. Go fight Cromrax 7 times and boom, you're done. Because basically every fight with Cromrax, you go up a level. There is no cheap, easy way in this game to get to level 50. It is, you end maybe 41, 42-ish if you do just the base game story and side missions for this game. I did all the DLCs and stuff, so I was like maybe level 43, 44, 45 when I finished the story completely and was in true Vault Hunter mode. And even that took me to literally nearly the end of the final game. Like, literally the end of the final story mission almost. I was almost to that point by the time I hit level 50. I got all the way to beginning of the end, was almost to the vault area when I finally hit level 50. Because you have to get a whole whopping 3 million, over 3 million XP to hit level 50. It is, if I remember correctly, 3,490,000 something solely for level 50, which in a game where you're really not finding any enemies that are like close to your level for a long time, especially if you did the DLCs and you've done a few extra things outside of just going straight into true Vault Hunter mode. Like, I had to go back and do side quests in the other area, in some of the areas before I moved on from after beating the main story and beating the like side mission where you have to kill the boss a second time. So everything for a long time was nowhere near my XP level, and I had to grind and grind and grind after already grinding to get Claptrap to 25 to get all of his bullshit done. I had to grind and grind and grind with Wilhelm to get him to level 50, which fucking sucked. I hated it, and it made me completely despise going for this platinum. I know Borderlands 2 is not nearly as bad, and Borderlands 3 is somehow worse, from what I've heard. So I'm not looking forward to doing those games. I'm taking a break from Borderlands for a little bit because fuck this game so much. Overall, 3 out of 10. If you're going to go for it, realize you're going to be grinding a lot, unless you can join a friend or another player who has a high level character and will let you join in on them in like the final boss fight where you can just skyrocket up like 30 fucking levels out of nowhere. Otherwise, just don't touch this game. It's the bastard redheaded stepchild of the Borderlands franchise, and unfortunately it was the first one I ever played, and I really kind of wish I wouldn't have gone back to do it, because it just, honestly, I lost a lot of my enjoyment for this game. Next, we have number 4, Monster Jam Steel Titans 2. I really loved the first Steel Titans game. It was fantastic. As somebody who grew up watching Monster Jam and loving things like motocross and monster trucks, so when I got into this one, when the second one released and I finally got it, I was really hoping for more of kind of the same fun I got from the first game. Holy shit, was I wrong. I quit playing this for like a year or so, which granted, I kind of did the same thing with the first Steel Titans, but that was more just because I was younger and didn't enjoy the game nearly as much and wasn't really on the racing grind as much as I used to be. But like, the gameplay in this is still solid. The later maps get very annoying. Like, they're designed really stupidly. They have a lot of obstacles that make no sense. The track layouts are dumb, and kind of like the minute you fuck up and flip off like one spot of a track, you have to then restart the race because you're not getting first at that point. And the collectibles become so extra fucking tedious. Like, the collectibles in these games are already kind of tedious, but when you get to the later like 2 or 3 maps, they're even more tedious because the jumps are harder to hit, the speed boosts are needed more, and they're in just very stupid spots, all truth be told. And some of the trophies take so long. You have to get first in every chapter. You have to get first in the world finals. You have to get every truck. You have to complete 25 online matches. You have to do all the challenge events. It's just not as enjoyable as it could have been as far as a monster truck racing game goes. Overall, 7 out of 10? Or is that 2 out of 10? I think that says 3 out of 10. 3 out of 10. It's a fun game. It's just tedious. I'd recommend maybe just playing it for fun rather than going for the platinum, unless you really want to go for the platinum, in which case, by all means, go for it. Number 3, Chernobylite. I won't lie. This game probably doesn't deserve to be number 3. It really doesn't. It's a fun game. It's got decent gameplay. The story is lacking a little bit. The characters all suck. The big reason for this being here, it's not because it has difficult or tedious tedious trophies. This is in number 3 solely because the trophy list is fucking boring. Like, I don't want to be mean to the devs or anything like that. I'm not trying to be, obviously, in this situation. But there's like maybe 3 missable trophies if you fuck up the way you play your story. This game is super simple, especially with a guide, to not fuck up any of these and not miss a single trophy through one playthrough. I finished this in like 4 days. I think the exact time was 3 hours and 23, or 3 days and 23 hours and like 49 minutes. So I was almost at 4 days on the dot when I finished this game. And missed nothing. Played one playthrough. One playthrough. Had to go through, maybe do a couple cleanup things. But for the most part, one solid playthrough of the game. Majority of the trophies, besides like a few missable, are literally just recruit character, finish story mission. That's it. That's like 90% of the trophies in this game. And like, I genuinely feel like they could have done better with this list. Like, you're exploring the exclusion zone in Pripyat, Chernobyl. Like, you're in the Ukraine, in Pripyat, Ukraine, at the Chernobyl exclusion zone, exploring where there's monsters and other scavengers and all this shit. Why the fuck do you not have trophies for collectibles or exploring or finding certain types of medicine or certain creatures? Or literally, there's 100 other ideas you could have put in here for trophies besides just recruit this character, finish this mission, recruit this character, finish this mission, finish this mission, finish this mission. Like, literally, go look at the trophy list for this game. It's like 29 trophies, and majority of them are finish a mission, recruit a character, and that's about it. There's not much to this, unfortunately, and I feel like it feels lazy. Like, it could have done more for its trophy list, and that's solely the reason I'm putting it at number 3, is because as a trophy hunter, when I play a game, I want some level of difficulty. I don't want it to be super tedious and grindy like Borderlands the pre-sequel or certain other games that will be coming up in a minute, but I also don't want it to be just go through the game and get all the trophies. Like, I know that sounds weird coming from somebody who's played Telltale games, but that's the reason Telltale games will never make either of these lists, is because that's the nature of those games. If I'm playing a game where I'm exploring the Chernobyl exclusion zone, I want something more than just beat the story. It felt lazy to me that was all the trophy list amounted to. And I think there's a few for upgrading your base, but like, at the end of the day, everything comes just from you playing through the story and recruiting characters and finishing missions. And overall, I have to give it, like, it's a 6 out of 10. It's a fun game. It has decent gameplay. The story's not great. It's kind of weird, and I'm not going to spoil it here. If you want to go play it, go play it. But the trophy list is boring as hell. And you can go through it, like I said. I think the recommended, like, the PSN Profiles guide says it's like 1 playthrough, 3 out of 10 difficulty, 20 hours. It only took me 4 days because I was playing it over a weekend and I had to work. So, yeah, I can't say much about this game. That's all I can say. Next, for number 2, we have Mortal Kombat X. Oh, this game took me so fucking long to finish, and it makes this list for a few reasons. Every single one of the invasion trophies, especially dealing hits to the boss. Not damage, hits. You have to deal, I believe it's 10,000 hits to the boss in an invasion, and when I did this, the invasions were few and far between. Maybe every 3 weeks we'd get an invasion. At times we thought they were completely gone, so I legit thought I was never going to get this platinum. And you have to break through their shield before any of the hits count, and genuinely, this trophy just fucking sucks. The invasion bosses are absolutely terrible. Next, earning 1,000 or whatever the fuck it was, respect in King of the Hill, which is super fucking difficult unless you boost it, because nobody pays respect in King of the Hill. Everyone tells you to go fuck yourself, basically. This shit sucked because you can get, at most, if you have 2 players, they can each give you 10 respect. at a time, which means at most you're getting 20 respect. If you only have 3 people in your boosting group, you're getting 20 respect per match, which means you need to play a fuckload of matches to do this. They changed it with MK11, where you only had to give 100 respect rather than earn any respect, which is great. Good job, NetherRealm. You've learned slightly, because you've kind of fucked up and gone flip-floppy with some of your trophies here and there. And ranked wins. You have to win, for one of the trophies, you have to win 10 ranked matches in a row. And I'm going to say this to every fighting game dev right now. Nobody in your average player base and no trophy hunters want to fucking play ranked. 90% of us hate these fucking games and only play them every so often and are not good enough to go into ranked. Now, granted, there is a save scum method, which I did, again, use because fuck ranked matches in any fighting game. They can suck a dick. They're just so frustrating. It's so fucking annoying to have to go through this shit for no reason other than, oh, hey, you want this really fucking tedious, grindy-ass trophy against all these fucking sweaty tryhards who have been playing this game since release and are gonna whoop your ass with a fucking juggle combo in the corner that's gonna fucking leave you up in the air for 97 hits, that's gonna damage all your health gone? Cool. Have fun. Go fuck yourself is basically what NRS is saying. And every fighting game dev who requires you to win any online ranked matches, that is literally what they're saying to you when they have those types of trophies. Because they fucking suck. They've always sucked and they always will suck. Overall, 1 out of 10. Just stick clear of this game. It's nice to have on my list, don't get me wrong. But it's tedious and it gets super unenjoyable after a while, especially because you have to wait so long to even potentially get the invasion bosses. And there's like 3 invasion trophies, and at some point they're going to be impossible to get again. And at this point, they might already be impossible. I'm very happy to have this platinum. Would I do it again? Hell no. And finally, the worst of the worst. Last and certainly least, number 1, PGA Tour 2K21. I'm not a big golf fan, and honestly, this platinum just requires so much time and effort to put into the game. And hell, like one of the trophies is literally for getting par or better on a full 18-hole course on the hardest difficulty. Again, has an exploit that I'll get to in a second. But if you're not spending all your time trying to play this game, you're genuinely gonna fucking lose your mind going for this. I remember going for this and finally finding the exploit maybe like 7 or 8 tries after, like finally saying, fuck it, I'm just gonna try the exploit. And the exploit worked and I was so happy. Basically, the exploit is you go in with 2 controllers, one on beginner, one on the hardest difficulty, and go into a specific mode that basically lets you use the ball of your partner and you guys get kind of the better score. Now, you still have to do really well even on the hardest difficulty, but it's a lot easier to do it this way because there's a much better chance of getting par or better on using this method. And I used it, and my first game through, I got the trophy, and I was done with the hardest trophy in the game. I think it was one of the last trophies I got for the game as well. But you can see everything I said about ranked in MKX. There you go. Even with an exploit to get the trophy easier. The story / career mode is literally just playing the same courses over and over again. It's basically just go in for this course, get this cup, work towards the FedEx Cup, finally get the FedEx Cup, beat all your rivals, which I think, if I remember correctly, if you're not playing optimally, goes through one full story and then a little bit more of the career to beat the final rival, because you have to get a certain amount of points to beat the rival. And even if you play perfectly, sometimes the game kind of fucks you over and you don't get more points than them, or you even out at the end of the course, and it's just, it can take a while, and you're like, till you're better at the game, it really gets difficult to beat the rivals, and it really gets difficult to do some of this stuff to get the points for the FedEx Cup, to potentially win the FedEx Cup, to finish the career and do all the shit. And I believe there's like 1 or 2 online trophies. I can't remember for sure, and I did not have the patience to go look for this list to go see. Overall, 4 out of 10. Don't go for it unless you really love golf. Because if you really don't like golf, like I don't, like when I put this in one of my Discord servers, they're like, "Oh, you a big fan of golf?" I'm like, "Fuck no. I just happen to have this game because of PS Plus and wanted to finish it." Genuinely do not go for this unless you really like golf. Because at the end of the day, you're going to be playing a lot of it to get this platinum. And it's going to get tedious. It's going to get annoying. And it's going to get very, very boring very, very fast. I have PGA Tour 2K23 because of it being on PS Plus. I am not going to play it because fuck that game. But yeah, arguably everything on this list to some extent deserves to be on this list for one reason or another. Whether it be a difficult trophy, tedious grinding bullshit, boring trophy list, or genuinely just the worst trophies imaginable. I hope you guys have enjoyed kind of looking at my year of 2023 for trophies. 57 unlocked platinums, up to getting me up to a total of 125. This has been a hell of a year. Again, thanks to Alex for giving me the suggestion for doing 10 best and 10 least favorite platinums of the year. I will see you guys in 2024 for more platinum goodness. Stay golden. Peace.